Hi, thanks for clicking on this video. My name is Lee. I am a professor of communication studies from Bellevue College. We are a community college 10 miles away from Seattle in the state of Washington. This is my first conference in Portugal, and I'm very excited to stay connected to you through this conference, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. My title is Teaching Humanities in Immersive and Culturally Significant Spaces. I will present to you two particular projects, and they are both represented over here on the top page. One is a project in China, and the other is a project in Normandy in France. And we'll compare that with our in-person study abroad program in a hope to show you the benefits and impact of using immersive learning technology in the teaching of humanities. So I'll go ahead and get started. A little bit of institution at a glance, and we are a minority serving institution. We support Asian American and Native American Pacific Islander students population. We are also a founding member of the Washington Community College Consortium for Study Abroad. In addition to teaching as a communication studies faculty member at the college, I also serve as the study abroad coordinator, so I represent the college at the consortium, and for the past 4 years I chair that state consortium. So I've been involved with a variety of study abroad projects made available at our college. So I have this possibility to compare among them. We also received tremendous support from Bellevue College Extended Reality Lab or Bellevue College XR Lab. To date, we have served more than 6,000 visitors, including both students and faculty. We're proud of our interdisciplinary focus, which I'm going to demonstrate to you in the two projects that we have completed so far. We received generous funding support from the National Science Foundation, the Fulbright program, and the IDS grant program offered through the Department of State. A picture down there further illustrate to you. The one in the middle is myself again. It's a screenshot of one of the lecture videos given and recorded on site during our site visit to Normandy. This is at the inside the courtyard of the Bayeux Tapestry Museum. The site inspection was funded through the IDS grant that I received from the Department of State. IDS is the acronym that stands for Increased Diversity of Education Abroad for U.S. students. Moving further right, you can see that faculty members from Bellevue College are participating in the International Teaching Workshop held at China Academy of Art. You can see they're learning about ink wash painting techniques as part of the workshop. And moving further right, you can see Professor Sandra Wilson taking her interior design students to Sorrento in Italy. This is our in-person study abroad program. So across the wide spectrum of study abroad experience, we are well positioned to provide a comparison and learn from such comparison of using either XR technology and or in-person study abroad experience to teach humanities. The way we situate and frame our comparison is within the scope of internationalizing the curricula proposed by Betty Lisk. And she defined internationalizing the curricula as the intentional inclusion of international, intercultural, and global dimensions, which incorporates three distinctive categories. The first one is the formal curricula. This refers to the faculty planning. The second one is the informal curricula made possible only when students travel abroad in person through field trips and museum visits and etc. The last one is invisible, but according to Lisk, this is the most impactful and most transformative experience for students, which had nothing to do with what faculty planned ahead. This is when students enjoyed the highest level of autonomy and explore on their own and make their own discoveries. This usually defines the invisible impact of study abroad experience. So between the two projects I'm going to showcase to you, I was essentially driven by the main inquiry of whether the hidden curricula could be made possible through XR technologies. And I wonder whether the hidden curricula is only possible through in-person abroad learning experience. And I want to know about that because I want to make a study abroad experience the transformative cultural immersion partially available to our students who couldn't travel because of financial scheduling and mobility restrictions. And I want to see if the XR technology can partially make the hidden curricula possible for them. So I'll go ahead and get started with the first project. You can go ahead and scan the QR and get started with the tour yourself, and I will walk you through the map as well. We conducted the faculty site inspection in the city of Suzhou in China in September of 2024. We visited multiple cities and we highlight 3 over here on this slide. You can see that the original ancient city map of Suzhou, and this points to you the shape of the ancient city wall. And in today's city of Suzhou, this represents just one city district, but back then this is the entire city of Suzhou. All the blue point of interest on the city map will be those gardens that we have visited, but we haven't completed with the construction of immersive environment. We're ready to show you one, and that's the pink dot over here, or the Master of Nets garden. I'll go ahead and click on the link and show you the map. Once you are at the gate of the virtual tour, you can go ahead and click on the button that says Visit the Gardens. And then you are at the city map and you go ahead and click on the link of the Master of the Nets garden. If you are the student, you go through the explanation a little bit, and once you are ready to visit the garden, and the map will open up to you. This is an embroidery, gives you a typographical representation of the garden. The Master of the Nets garden is unique because of the overwhelming majority of the space is occupied by water. And the pond at the center represents the majority of the garden space. If you are the student, you go through the dots, either following the numbers, or you can skip ahead. And this is what I mentioned earlier, the idea of autonomy. But let's say that students have followed the number and then they made a stop, number 3, and this is the pavilion. And the pavilion has a name. This is the pavilion of the evening wind and the moon. So my colleague, Professor Deborah LeBlanc, she was sitting inside this pavilion, but then she took this picture across the pond, and you can see there's another half pavilion across the pond, and there's a tiny person sitting inside that half pond, and that's me. Whenever we share this little anecdote with students, they always enjoyed knowing this detail because they would be happy to know that the professor who are talking to them in the classroom is also inside the picture. So they have maybe an additional reason to stay connected to the teaching content. And then I want to take you to number 5. This is the side yard, 电春仪, and 仪 means a side hall. And once you click on that, you realize that this is precisely what it is like to standing at the front porch of 电春仪. You see the Taihu rock, and you see the carefully planted trees, and you see the mosaic. All of those has a cultural significance of what they should look like. I pause over here, you can see the peony bush. and that marks the name of the side hall because peony blooms in spring, and 春 means the spring, and 店 means the end of it. So 店春怡 means the end of spring. So this side hall is pretty significant during that time of the year because you sit over here, you see all the blooms, and of course you enjoy the blooms of the peony. The last stop I would like you to make is number 10. This is our 360 image. I'll go ahead and click on that. If you're on your phone, you can feel free to look around, and you can also look down. And this is interesting because then you see all the reflections on the water surface. This once again goes back to what I said earlier about the self-discovery of the autonomy, and I'm hopeful that this probably can lead to some version of the hidden curricula, and students can talk about. Indeed, students did make their self-discoveries. One student wrote in her reflections that she's particularly interested in the corners of the pavilions, and which, by the way, did not stand out to me because this is a culture that I am a native towards, but she is an outsider of Chinese culture, so this stood out to her, and this is her self-discovery, so I think this is interesting to share. That marks the end of the first project, and I hope to go back to this slide and show you the second project. The second project was based on our faculty inspection to the Normandy area, and in October 2023, this was once again funded through the IDS grant, made possible through the Department of State in the United States. Our goal, once again, is to capture and demonstrate to students the relationship between space and culture. Feel free to scan on the QR so that you can navigate with us, but it's equally interesting if you just stay with me on my main screen because I'm going to take you there. This project was housed on SeekBeak, and which is a 360 virtual tour platform. Once you're there, I want you to start with the introduction, but again, we're highlighting the possibility of autonomy, so if you want to navigate to any one of those other points of interest, you can. The map and the environment is not going to block you from doing that. But once we click on the introduction, we enter this 3D environment. It was generated by AI, and it's a gallery, it's a corridor, and you can see that we have possibilities of highlighting the pictures and moments during our trip. And then once you are ready to further explore, you go back to the main map. I would like to this time make a stop on Omaha Beach. And once you click on that, you are there. This is a 360 imagery that we took during our site visit. I want to make a stop over here, and you can see Professor Bruce Walcott, and he's the communication studies professor traveling with us, and he took all the 360 imageries. It was a wonderful late afternoon and evening that we spent on the beach. This is a location that is familiar with most Americans to this day, but we also were able to capture this private memorial ceremony while we were there. So with their permission, we made a recording of the moment. So you can see that this is a silent process except for the music, and we embedded this video into this 360 environment so that when students are navigating and they click on that, they realize that this was exactly what was it like if they traveled with us, with the faculty members during that trip, because it was right there. Another video that I want to quickly share with you was this 360 documentary that was also shot on site. The beginning of it features the same beach. It was a documentary made available through the Second World War Museum.
Omaha Beach in Normandy, France. During World War II, this beach was part of a crucial operation that sealed the fate of Hitler's Germany, the Allied invasion of Normandy. On June 6, 1944, at 6:30 in the morning, American soldiers came ashore. Getting across the beach, scattered with obstacles and mines, and reaching the seawall beyond would only be the beginning of a long day of fighting.
We realized that it was very relevant and impactful to blend in and embed this 360 video inside a 360 imagery, because again, students feel that this is what it is like in this immersive visual environment, and then they click on that, so they will be able to both have a taste of what it was like during our trip in 2023, and then they can also watch a 360 documentary which started in the same environment. So it's all about here and now, as well as here and then. So that's the Omaha Beach, and you have the freedom. Once again, as a student, you are afforded some level of autonomy. You can make self-explorations on this map. So to return to what we said earlier about accessibility and autonomy, for the in-person study abroad experience, of course, you are afforded the highest level of autonomy. All the discoveries you made on your own will be memorable for the rest of your life. But then with our XR lab and with extended reality technology, students can have some sense of self-discovery as well, and they can navigate within the environment, and they can make their own discoveries as well. And XR technology, of course, in doing so, provided much higher level of accessibility. They are available to students at no additional cost, and those experiences are accessible across a wide variety of devices. You could do so through a cell phone. You can access those on your computer screen. You can also access that if you wear a headset. You can explore the space in that way. I want to conclude on this deeper dive slide. We have a few topics that point at the future directions for us. For instance, how do we further demonstrate accessibility for students, as well as the framework of internationalizing the curricula, as well as a distinctive communication study theoretical framework of narrative paradigm. This project made me really curious about the concept of the teacher as the storyteller within the immersive space, which is everything about narrative paradigm, about the power of story, of how humans are storytellers, and how stories are fundamentally the most accessible form to understand and remember our cultured experience. I will conclude my presentation right there, and I have my email and my institution affiliation down there on this slide as well. I would appreciate the opportunity of getting connected to you and stay connected if you share the same interest. Thank you again, and I hope to see you again at another conference very soon.